Hi, I'm Keely from Retirement Dreams to Reality, and today I'm going to talk about the idea of quiet quitting and how it links to retirement. Well, I thought that was what I was going to talk about, but actually when I started doing my research there was also another concept that I'd not really heard of before, and I really liked reading about that, so I'm going to talk about that a little bit as well, and that's quasi quitting. So the idea of quiet quitting is basically where you change your focus from putting all your efforts, everything you've got into your employment, and you start prioritising your health and well-being and your personal plans. That's sort of the nice definition of quiet quitting. So work becomes less important to you and you start focusing on your own health and well-being and personal things. Now, it came about, it seems, quite a lot during the pandemic. Obviously, when something as big as that happens, it makes people rethink things, and people were way less focused on work and way more focused on their own things. So that's sort of where quiet quitting came about. And actually, if you look at quiet quitting, if you investigate quiet quitting, you'll see that there's loads of it to do with the few years working towards retirement. So as you're getting towards retirement, then you think about pulling away a little bit, not focusing on work, focusing more on yourself. But there's something else that it seems quite a lot of people do before retirement, and there was a brilliant article that I will link in the notes about quasi quitting. So the idea of quasi quitting is that you actually still feel like you've got something to give, but you don't want to give as much as you did before in terms of that same job. So you might want to go in a slightly different direction. Even though you've still got something to give, it might be you might use your skills for something else rather than the full-time job that you were in before. So it's not the same as quiet quitting that you're going to stay in the job and do less. You are going to do less, but maybe in a different job, in a different direction. And I think part of the reason that I found that so interesting is because I feel I've already done that. I feel like my brain injury led me to quasi quitting. So after I first had my brain injury, I couldn't give the time and the effort and the all of me that I gave to my full-time teaching job with responsibilities before my brain injury. But I definitely still had something to give. So that's what I did. I went into part-time tutoring. So it was definitely a different direction because tutoring was very different to teaching A-level sociology, which is what I did. But it wasn't, I just didn't stay in the same job and just not give my all. I changed jobs. So I think I've already quasi quit. So naturally, the next step for me in my quasi quitting job is quiet quitting. And I think the reason quasi quitting still has the word quitting in it is because you are still saving some of yourself. You are definitely saving some of your time, and you are definitely saving some of your effort if you change direction and go for a job with much less responsibility, but you're still using your skills. And another key thing about quasi quitting, I liked the phrase that you let some things go, but not everything. So I suppose with quasi quitting, the things that you didn't like about your actual job, you can let those things go and then try and keep the things that you did like about the job and keep those on. And I suppose that's even more why my part-time tutoring job is quasi quitting, because I got rid of all of the bureaucracy and paperwork that came with working full-time in a school as a head of subject and a deputy head of faculty. So all of that stuff that I didn't like, all of the paperwork, all of the bureaucracy, all of the jumping when the bell goes, so many things I got rid of when I went into tutoring. But one of the main things that I kept was my contact with students, my building relationships with students. Please remember, if you're enjoying this video, or even if you're not, please help by liking and subscribing. Like and subscribe. I need to say. Because that's what I liked about the job. My teaching students, being with students, imparting the knowledge that they need. Another thing that I love about the job, that's what I kept with tutoring. So whatever your job is, you can absolutely apply that the nearer you get into retirement. So what are all the things that you dislike about your job? What are all the things that you really like about your job? And is there any way you can go? Is there any direction you can go in where you keep all the things that you like about your job? So what's the problem with quasi quitting and quiet quitting? Both of them include the word quitting. Now, as soon as you hear that word, it has real negative connotations. Failure, loser, you can't hack it. If you're quitting something, then that's not a positive thing. But actually, I think we need to reframe it that it can be a positive thing. It absolutely can be a positive thing, because actually you are doing things that are more important to you than the thing that you're quitting. So we need to reframe our thinking around that quitting word, but also we need to think about the fact that not only will both quasi quitting and quiet quitting benefit you physically because of all that extra time and effort that you won't be putting into work anymore, but also emotionally, that massive decision that's been hanging over you all of that time, because people don't retire lightly, they don't quiet quit lightly, they don't quasi quit, change direction of employment lightly. So you will have had these feelings hanging over you that work's not quite right for you. What do you do next? Where do you go? What do you do? When are you going to retire? Etc, etc. Once you make that decision, once you decide, right, okay, I'm changing my direction, you won't use the term, but I'm going to quasi quit, I'm going to change my direction, I'm going to get a different job, I'm going to work part-time, that emotionally, that baggage that frees you from is huge. Or alternatively, once you decide, okay, I am definitely retiring in blah, blah, blah years, so I'm now on the countdown. I'm on the countdown to retirement, so I'm going to switch off that part of me that gives 300% to work every day. Once you've made that decision, then in a way you are set free emotionally. So that's a really positive thing around those quit words. And in this article, he talked about 3 really positive things to come from either quiet quitting or quasi quitting. And one, he calls it an act of self-love. He actually says anybody that quasi quits or quiet quits It's an act of self-love because you are putting yourself before anything else. You are putting yourself before those work responsibilities. So that's a really positive thing. And he also says that the most positive experiences that come from quasi quitting or quiet quitting are embracing the new rather than leaving the old. So rather than focus on what you're quitting, focus on what you are embracing, what you're bringing new into your life because you're not doing the other thing. I haven't mentioned, but I am taking a lovely little walk around Woodthorpe Park, which is in Sherwood in Nottinghamshire. And I'm just taking a little walk around the park. It's very quiet this morning. And the final thing that the really nice article said was, give yourself permission to quit. Know when it's time to quit and give yourself permission to do that. And I thought that was a really, really nice point. Now, we're coming towards the end of the academic year now in the UK where I teach. And it's easy to peter down towards the end of the academic year, but I'm not retiring in September. I'm not supposed to be retiring till December. And therefore, when I start back in September, it will be all guns blazing with new students, apart from some students that I'm keeping on from this year. So that will be interesting to me. That will be interesting in terms of quiet quitting and making sure that I don't go over and above what I have to do. So making sure the students have everything that they need, making sure that I'm still doing a good job, but I'm not going overboard in my final 3 months of teaching. So that's Keely. From retirement dreams to reality, having a lovely walk around Woodthorpe Park in Nottinghamshire, and thank you for taking this walk with me.